Hey, I'm Christina Quinn. Welcome back to Try This from the Washington Post. This is the final class in our course about how to enjoy cooking more. So far, we've identified our kitchen personalities, figured out how to build a repertoire, and learned about the ritual pleasures and meditative tasks of cooking. And now we bring you the kitchen sink. It's a collection of tasty morsels from our experts that offer the shortcuts we crave and some more food for thought. We're going to hear from the voices you've heard throughout this course, starting with my colleagues on the Post's food team. They took me through the ingredients they always try to keep stocked in their kitchens.
Frozen vegetables.
Frozen vegetables and grains are a godsend.
Yeah, there's rice you just pop in the microwave.
That frozen brown rice, or even just the shelf-stable rice, it's more expensive, but is that convenient?
The thing is about frozen vegetables, they're often picked, frozen, cleaned at their peak freshness. So a lot of times what you're getting in the freezer can be of higher quality than whatever is in the produce section that's been sitting around or shipped or is out of season, that kind of thing. And sure, I mean, you need to pick your recipes carefully. You're probably not going to pass off, frozen broccoli the same way that you would in like a fresh broccoli salad. But like Joe did a recipe for a broccoli pasta salad where he roasted frozen broccoli and it worked great. Stir fry, those usually do well. I mean, frozen vegetables and soup, like what?
Yeah.
Don't bother with necessarily the fresh stuff. So I think frozen vegetables do a lot and they get a bad rap. And they are sometimes more economical.
They're so high quality now, too. Like now you can get these frozen greens that are like the leaves are separately frozen. I mean, gone are the days when you have to like defrost that whole hard block of spinach. Like you can actually get these bags of frozen spinach, kale, and other greens that you can just shake right out of the bag. I mean, it's kind of phenomenal. But there's other things too, marinara sauce, I think is one.
Canned beans.
Canned beans are incredible. Peeled garlic. I think if you're using a lot of garlic, if you go through a lot of garlic, pre-peeled garlic can be a huge time saver. You don't have to break it off the head. You don't have to deal with the papers. You don't have to peel it. You can just start chopping it immediately. It's really helpful.
And I am a proponent of garlic powder.
Right.
Like, don't deal with the clove at all. Just a little shake and then ta-da, garlic flavor.
Another reminder from my foodie colleagues is not to overlook the promise of a sheet pan. Food writer Aaron Hutcherson loves to mix up the veggies, and his protein of choice is chicken.
You just get any cut of chicken you want. Thighs and legs work best because they're the most forgiving. Like if you leave them in for a little bit, a few extra minutes, they're not going to dry out. Any vegetables you want, any spices you want, and then just throw it in the oven, set it and forget it. And then you're good to go. So with that, you could do chicken thighs and sweet potatoes and broccoli and some sumac, or you could do some legs and cauliflower and potatoes and then some like Mediterranean, Greek-inspired seasonings. But like sheet pan meals are, for the most part, all templates that you can riff on.
You may need to adapt the size if you're cooking really hard vegetables. You may need to cut them into smaller pieces. So it certainly depends on the mix of ingredients you have on hand.
I wouldn't put like peas and chicken thighs on the sheet pan all at once and cook them at the same time.
The peas are already done, right?
Yeah, because the peas are done immediately. But
Got it.
You can also just, practice stuff like that by doing things like putting everything on, but putting them in different places on the sheet pan so that you can learn how long it takes to cook things by peeking and poking and sticking a fork in. And if all your, zucchini pieces are done and your chicken has a ways to go, then take out the zucchini.
Right.
And then maybe that will build enough confidence that you start to realize what can go together and how to put it together in a way that things can get done at about the same time. And then you can start just mixing everything together and you don't have to do the separation anymore.
After the break, more kitchen shortcuts and one way to expand the definition of cooking. When she's feeling unmotivated to cook, Mary Beth Albright relies on some shortcuts that are too simple to pass up. The key is to do some prep ahead of time for those moments. Again, this is a nod to knowing yourself. For example, I find that once Thursday rolls around, I don't really want to cook, but if I know that's my lazy day, something like this is helpful.
I usually keep very thinly sliced chicken breasts in the freezer. I also keep pieces of bacon individually rolled up in the freezer because it's really super easy to slice, to chop it up. So I'll chop up olive oil in a pan, then brown some bacon, then take the bacon out and then cook the chicken and then throw in, if you have some herbs around the house, throw that in and you can serve it over pasta, slice up the chicken and then all of a sudden it's just a lovely meal. And
that sounds delicious.
Yeah, right. And I mean, those are things that you keep in the freezer. And that's all pantry, except for the fresh herbs.
And like we've said throughout this course, sometimes it's okay to accept that cooking something ambitious isn't always in the cards. Mary Beth really sums this idea up beautifully. She proposes the idea that we redefine what cooking means, that curating and arranging counts.
When you walk down the street and you see somebody with a great outfit and you tell them, wow, great outfit, and they say thanks back to you, they don't have to have sewn the outfit themselves. They don't have to have, created a pattern of the design of the outfit. It's like they just put together a great outfit, and that is a real skill, and that is an appreciated skill. And so I think that we need to celebrate that more. The idea of going to a grocery store and buying pre-made chili and just heating it up and serving it to people and eating with them is a huge improvement off of the way that people eat right now. Every time they take a survey of how many people eat alone in this country and across the world, it goes up. And that started in the 1950s with, individual meals and stuff like that. But now, there are some people who report eating almost 100% of their meals alone every single day. There are people who report eating 70% of their meals in their car. So I am never going to be somebody who says, oh, cooking is easy, just go in there. No. It's not. And because of that, we have people who are throwing up their hands and saying, well, I guess nothing's worth it. And so what I'm saying is don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, that it is good to get ready-made chili and eat it at home with your friends. That is a quote unquote cooking goal.
Interesting. So just the idea of sharing a meal, that kind of counts under the umbrella of cooking because you're essentially you're preparing something to be shared with people.
You're creating a space for people to eat food together that you have provided. I understand that that might not be the dictionary definition of cooking, but if you're looking at how to enjoy, quote unquote, cooking more, part of it is to just be with other people and to do it with other people. And we do the things, we focus in America particularly so much on what to eat. We got to cut out everything. We got to do this for 75 days. We've got to have none of this for 3 years or whatever it is, the latest fad diet. But it's we focus so much on what we eat. We're not thinking about how we eat. And that has a huge effect on our health and on our emotional well-being. And food is a natural tool to bring people together that we are not using right now.
So instead of sweating the details, focus on the larger picture. Find what gives you that spark, have fun with it, and share it with people. And Joe Yonan has this one last reminder.
Relax. Try to relax. Just try to take a minute and take a breath before you start cooking and just see if you can get into a slightly better headspace. That's something that helps me sometimes. I just stop for a minute, Because if I'm too stressed out, it does, if you're having a bad day, that can definitely just keep right on happening as you're cooking. And sometimes I think you just got to know when it's just not your night to cook, too. It's just not a good night. You don't have to do it.
Feeling like tonight's going to be that night for me.
Right. Come back to it another day, right? There's always tomorrow. There's always pizza, and there's always tomorrow.
That's it for our course from Try This on how to enjoy cooking more. If you learned from this show, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And to support this kind of work, please subscribe to The Post. You can do that at washingtonpost.com/subscribe. And finally, if you have suggestions for what kinds of courses you'd love to hear, please send them our way at trythis@washpost.com. Try This is produced and hosted by me, Christina Quinn. Additional producing by Eliza Dennis. The show's editors are Allison Michaels and Kanyakrid von Kitkajorn. Additional editing by Renita Jablonski. Special thanks to Taylor White. Theme music, sound design, and mixing is by Katherine Anderson. Show art is by Kati Huertas, with design editing from Christian Font and Greg Manifold. Audrey Valbuena built our digital course page, which you can find at washingtonpost.com/trythis. Find our first audio course on how to get better sleep and our second course on making the most of your friendships right here on the Try This feed.